Hello, everyone. I just wanted to take a quick moment and say hello to some of the people that I've seen filing in to their seats in this big virtual auditorium that we have. So hello this evening to Chris, Greg, Jason, Paul. Thank you for coming. Ron, Shuri, Yannick, and a couple more. So we're going to wait and give some people time to file in. We have a virtual concession stand located in your kitchen. So if you need a drink, there's time to quickly go get one and return to your seats. Thank you. Okay, well, we're waiting on some more people to enter into the virtual auditorium. I'm going to go ahead and show the cartoon like I did last time because we're just so proud of it. It's a 90-second explainer video, and that'll give some more time for people to show up. All right, and give me just a few minutes and I will launch it.
COVID-19 has turned the world upside down. Until there is a vaccine, it's up to us to stay safe and healthy. Regular testing plays a big part in preventing the spread of the virus. But let's be honest, the system is far from perfect. Waiting times at drive-through testing facilities can be as long as 6 hours, which is torture if you're sick. Not to mention the 7 to 14 days it takes to get your results. And in the meantime, people are out of work. We need a faster, safer, and more efficient way to test for COVID-19. And that's exactly what scientists at Eua Diagnostics created. They've been working day and night. Introducing the at-home COVID antigen test. It's a simple and quick test to get accurate results about your COVID-19 status right from the privacy of your home. Just swab your nose, put your sample on the test strip, and wait 15 minutes for your results. That's easy, I can do that. No prescription is needed. And it comes with an app, AI technology analysis, telemedicine, and contact tracing. Now we need your help to bring this urgently needed test to the market. Support our campaign. Together, let's take charge of our health and stop the spread of COVID-19.
So that was our cartoon. I think the illustrators just did a wonderful job. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. And we will just get started in just a few minutes. Okay, I see a number of other people showing in or coming into the room. So that's pretty exciting. Okay. And we will get this presentation started. I try to structure it in a slightly different way. So those that are repeat visitors, you will see new results. Obviously, you will see or hear about our progress. And I try to include some extra details that we weren't able to get to last time. Okay, so again, my name is Dr. Maria Nagy, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of QuorumX Diagnostics, and we are building the first at-home COVID test. So essentially, it's kind of like a pregnancy test, but for COVID. We're going to go through tonight and list 9 reasons why we believe that we are the game changer when it comes to this technology, and why we believe that we can truly make a difference and make a dent in this situation in the middle of this pandemic. Let's start off with our company mission. We have an easy statement to get a COVID test into every person's hand that wants one. So why is that important to you and to me? Why would it make a difference in my life? Obviously, it sounds altruistic. Hey, let's get a test in everyone's hand, but let's sit down and really think about it. So I'll give you 3 examples from my life as to why I would really want this product. When I was in California, I had a roommate. His name was Paul, and I was just so lucky to have him as a roommate. And he's a gentleman that's a little bit older than I am. And it was in the middle of when the COVID pandemic hit. And so if I tell you a little bit about Paul, other than the fact that he's one of the most wonderful people that you will ever meet, he had some health conditions. He had high cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes, and while he had lost a lot of weight, he still had a little bit of weight on him. That is the mixture that can cause great concern. So while we were in the middle of the pandemic, there were quite a few times that I hopped online and looked and searched to see, is there an at-home kit, something that I can quickly check and see, make sure that I don't have COVID, because I didn't want to give it to my friend. You know, maybe I would be able to survive and get through it, but he had a lot of comorbidities at the same time. So that was disconcerting. And obviously early on, there were no COVID kits. You know, and then recently in the last month or so, I had a day where I had some respiratory symptoms, some respiratory distress, and I was agonizing about, it's not too bad. It's not bad enough for me to stay home, but what if it's COVID? You know, what if I infect my coworkers? So instead of doing that, I hopped online. I scheduled a time to go to one of these drive-throughs. It took me 3 tries to schedule a time. I finally hopped into a car, but I don't drive, so I had to find a friend of mine to drive and drive me through, and we sat for 3 hours in order to take this test. So within this process, it's taken several days for me to find a location. Then I had to expose my friend, or potentially expose my friend, and then make him sit in the car with me for 3 hours. Luckily, my symptoms weren't so bad, but if I had really terrible symptoms, that would have been awful sitting in the car like that. We took the test. Luckily, I was fine. I put the mask back on and got back to work. But what if it wasn't fine, right? And what if I was more sick? Instead of going through all that hassle, it would have just been nice to get an at-home kit, you know. And then lastly, last week, I finally had a chance to go visit my mom and dad. It was at my sister's house. So if my sister or my brother-in-law would have gotten COVID, they'd probably be fine. Their immune system would have probably fought it off. But my parents, my dad has high blood pressure. He's had 3 heart attacks. If he gets it, that's not a good thing. If my mom, she's older, she's got high sugar, she's got high blood pressure. If she gets it, it's not a good thing. I would have loved to be able to go do a test, make sure that I'm fine before I go over there. Because we were sitting outside on a big table, everyone wearing masks. It would have been nice to go over to my dad and hug him at the end of the dinner, but I couldn't because I didn't want to risk infecting him in case I had COVID. So those are my 3 whys as to why we need a test like this. Obviously, we're in the middle of the worst pandemic of our lives, right? Right now, worldwide, I believe we're at 36 million cases. In the US, we're past 6 million cases and now over 200,000 deaths. This graph is from August 31st. However, even if it were current, it'd be 2 weeks late because all the data that's getting uploaded is at least 1 to 2 weeks behind the actual cases. So if I were to want to look at one of these graphs and decide, should I go to one location or another, you know, how safe is my county? I wouldn't really be able to make those decisions because all of that data is 1 to 2 weeks behind. So let me tell you about this kit. It's this box that you can get in the mail or you can pick up at your drugstore. You're going to take a swab. You're going to do a nasal swab, not a nasal pharyngeal. So you're going to go about 1 inch in your nose, not 3 inches. You're going to do a swab, put that swab into a tube, agitate a little bit, and then use it as a dripper to drip onto a stick. Within a few minutes, you're going to get a color change, just like a pregnancy test. And then you're going to use our at-home app, our at-home COVID Now app. Take a picture of that, and our AI technology will analyze the intensity of that line to determine if the line is truly positive or negative. That's most important on cases where the viral count is low. Some of the cases will be kind of obvious, but then if the viral count is low, this AI technology will kick in to ensure that a case is truly positive or truly negative. Lastly, you'll be able to do a number of really cool things on the app. You'll be able to connect immediately to a telemedicine service. We're interacting with Physicians 360, and they're going to be our telemedicine provider. We're also going to have a report that you can immediately send to your boss, or if you're planning on going to a wedding venue, or if you decide you want to share it with some friends or family members. It's up to you. It's a private link, and you can send it immediately through email. So let me tell you about the different types of tests on the market. You've heard about the antibody test, the PCR test, and now the antigen test. The antibody test is great for determining if you've had an infection in the past. This is the test that requires a finger prick and some blood. They're looking for antibodies, and it typically takes between 1 to 2 weeks after infection has started in order for your body to produce these IgM antibodies. The price point for those can be anywhere from $60 to $200, and they're all point of care. That means you have to go to a healthcare professional in order to have that test completed. Then you have the PCR test. This is the PCR test that we've heard on TV. These are the drive-through facilities. Again, your wait time can be anywhere from 2 to 5 hours. You have a lot of staff members and laboratory members being engaged in the process to swab the nose, to run the test, and then to email the results back. Those results can take 7 to 14 days in order to get the results. Let me tell you why there's a problem with this 7 to 14 day window. Okay, so let's look at Jane. And Jane works at a coffee shop, and she needs to work because this is how she pays her bills. But her boss is like, hey, I think you might have gotten exposed the other day. I need you to stay home, go get a test, and come back once we find out that you're negative. So she goes home, she calls for an appointment. It takes a couple of days. Then she goes to a location. She sits with other people wanting to test. So everyone's in the same room, breathing the same air. Yes, everyone's wearing a mask. However, it's a high risk area. Leaving the testing facility, she remembers she forgets eggs. She goes to buy some eggs because for several days you need some food. She waits for her results, and then 7 to 14 days later, she finds out that she's negative. She's like, great, I can go back to work. But if we think about it, her results are actually null and void because she ended up going to the grocery store and she went to a location that could be a high risk location, a testing facility. So she could have very easily gotten exposed during the process. So while she has a pass to go back to work, those results can actually be incorrect. So the 7 to 14 day waiting period is not a good thing. Our test, simple, easy, at home, results in 9 minutes. You can get the kit, like I said, from a drugstore or get it mailed directly to you. No prescription required. The cost will be around $50. There's the complimentary phone app. It's going to allow for the AI assessment of the test, some contact tracing components. The information will immediately get uploaded, de-identified to local, state, and federal agencies so they can trace that information, and it's real-time information. You take the test today, it'll be uploaded within a few minutes to the cloud. Maybe not on day one, but we will eventually have heat maps so you can look at your area, your part of town, and see, is it a hotbed or is it low number of cases? And then you will also have the telemedicine service, immediate connectivity. So here's an example of what our phone app looks like. You'll see it's a very easy to use design. We have a number of videos embedded in the process. So it will show you how to swab your nose properly. It'll show you how to take a picture of the stick. And at the end right here, you'll see the results. You'll be able, with a click of a button, to share them with your employer or the event coordinator. And then you can click to connect with a telemedicine service. The fourth reason as to why we need this type of test. This right here, this picture on the bottom left-hand corner is an example of rapid testing. You see people waiting in line, wearing masks, yes, they're outside, but they're going to have to go through the same portal to get to the testing facility. And some of these people are actually infected because that's why they're going to see. You know, not everyone is just testing for work, but some of them are actually infected. So there is a probability of exposure. Also, in order to run these facilities, you need a lot of people. You need cops, you need laboratory technicians, you need swabbers, you need volunteers. Think of how many uniforms, how many gloves, how much PPE, how many masks, how much manpower is required to run these facilities. With our test, it's one person doing the test on themselves. The results are immediate. You don't need all of this. The fifth reason is our market share. Let's look at the market and the market opportunity. You guys are all here as investors, so let's look at this opportunity. We've got 300 million Americans. If we look at the number of people that are between the ages of 20 and 9 years old, that's 220 million people. If we look at the number of people that are in the urban areas, 183 million. If we sell one kit to 3% of that population and assume that there's no repeat sales, if we sell at an average price of $37.50, that's assuming retail and wholesale somewhere in the middle, $37.50, that's a potential revenue of $205 million. Another way of looking at this is if we can sell 2.7 million of these kits at $37.50, that's 100 million in revenue. Companies that have 100 million in revenue typically have $1 billion valuation. That's our goal from an investment standpoint. Oh, incidentally, this is just US. This is not taking into the global market. So that market size is much, much greater. And the need is there. And I think we can really make a difference. Let's look at our competition, because everyone's worried about the competition. Everyone's worried about Quidel, BD, Abbott, Chorus. These are all antigen tests. I got several emails about this Yale Saliva Direct test. Well, that Saliva Direct test, it's a PCR test. It's an at-home collection kit. So they're going to mill you a tube, you're going to spit in it, and that's going to be mailed away. A couple of days later, you get results. With the Abbott, with the Quidel, with the Chorus, yes, these are antigen tests. They are relatively quick, about 15 minutes for results, but you have to go to an urgent care or a minute clinic, something that's attached to a laboratory in order to get the results. It is not at home. The at-home template provided by the FDA was not released until July 29th of this year, so roughly 2 months ago. So what you see if you hear about someone, an at-home kit, it's probably a collection kit. That doesn't mean that there are other kits not coming, but the market size is so huge and the need is so great. I think that I know we will be able to make a difference. And our product across the board, with the test, with the app, with our results, are above the rest. So let's talk about go-to-market strategy. This is our 6th reason why we think we are going to be the game changers. We've got 3 go-to-market strategies, B2C and 2 different B2Bs. B2C, direct to consumer, that's going to be through mail. There's 3 different websites that we're going to be utilizing. That's going to be our COVID Now, or our Quorum X diagnostic website, or we have a partnership with Physicians 360, so we'll be utilizing their website, and Ray Bioscience, as well as we'll see if we can get into Amazon and sell there as well. Next, drugstores. So I keep telling you about this relationship that we have with Physician 360. So they are located in 50 states. They have over 1,000 drugstores at this point that they have access to. There are kiosks already in place where they're selling their flu tests, their strep tests, and now we can put our COVID Now test. And if you look, if you squint, this is a preview of our co-branded box that we're developing. And then lastly, we're going to be putting together a sales force. Last time I mentioned this in our last meeting, and since then I've had 4 people reach out that want to be part of the sales force. We're going to focus on meat packing facilities, government agencies, daycares, bars, restaurants, and sell the quantities of kits. Another thing that we were discussing is a subscription model. My sister, she works in a bar, they're required to get tested weekly. We can provide a service like that where the test will just come directly to your house and you don't have to think about it except once, and then it'll come at a cadence that's appropriate to your needs. The seventh reason we think that we're a game changer is because of our traction. Now, you might have only heard of us since this COVID Now product, but we've been around since 2017. And in that time, we've developed a product called QXD1 Fast Test for Pseudomonal Pneumonia. The idea came to me while I was in graduate school in 2010, and then I forgot about it for a while I taught in academia and while I taught at various colleges, and then worked at medical device. And then in 2017, I decided to start a company. And then since then, we've developed that pseudomonal test. We made working relationships with 3 different hospitals. We developed or built a working proof of concept, filed an international PCT utility patent, filed an FDA pre-submission, found the manufacturer, found the appropriate lawyers, wrote at least 5 different grants, and we were well on our way to fundraise to take this particular product for clinicals. And then COVID hit come January and February of 2020. When COVID hit, we sat down and looked at each other and said, hey, we have all these relationships built. We know what to do. We know how to build a lateral flow. Let's see if we can do it for COVID. So April, we get into the lab. May, we launch the WeFunder. Then we do the prototype. We file a provisional patent. We find the plastics manufacturer. We start developing the app. We get approved for clinicals, and we're here now. So we did all this in the last 4 months, under $100,000. So we're running mean and lean during the development of this. So here we are. And now, last week, we finally got the last bit of IRB approval. That was on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we submitted our FDA pre-submission. And on Thursday, we picked up our first 300 manufactured sticks. So I think we're making quite a bit of progress, and we're moving quite quickly. Our last 2 goals that we need to hit is finish clinicals and apply for EUA. As I said, we have a pipeline, so it's not just one product. It's not just the COVID Now. We have a healthy pipeline with this pseudomonal test that's ready to go into manufacturing and clinicals as well. But we're going to get back to this as soon as COVID is over, or as soon as COVID has subsided enough so that we can go back to this technology. Then we have designs for many other products, for bronchitis, for UTIs, for yeast infection, for bacterial vaginosis. So we have a very healthy pipeline of many products. Just so you know, as we're fundraising, right now we've raised over $160,000 between private and WeFunder. We're trying to close a deal for $300,000, and then we hope that you guys will step in and not wait and invest now. If you're going to invest, invest now. It puts gasoline on the fire and allows us to go faster. If we want to win this horse race, we need you to be a part of it, right? And so let's talk about potential exit strategies, because we're all investors. What is opportunity here? When Sorrento Therapeutics announced that they had an antigen test. Their market share or their market cap went from 2.3 billion to 4.4 billion in less than a week. Then there's Alair, and this is the company that we most admire. This company was a lateral flow company. They had at least 5 successful products on the market when they got acquired in 2016. They got acquired by Abbott for 5.3 billion. So this is the company we most admire and we're mostly trying to emulate and learn from. The 9th reason that we are the game changers is because we have a dream team. Without this team is amazing. Let me tell you, we have Dr. Angel Rivera, who's our CTO. He's a seasoned scientist with over 25 years experience. He's published over 80 peer-reviewed journal articles. Then we have Dr. Rodney Nash. He's a PhD scientist and the CEO of Javan Bioscience. He's also on the board of at least 5 different hospitals and has his toe in so many pools and knows so many people. He's a valuable resource. Then we have Dr. Navi Gita, and she is an NIH postdoc at Emory. She's an MD and brings a vast amount of knowledge and insight into the project. We have Mr. Eric Woods, who's another one of our advisors. He's a PhD candidate and was a former patent examiner. So he's helped us answer many patent-related questions. And then we have Mr. Azad Rahman. He's another one of our advisors. He has an MBA from one of the top universities, a former Deloitte manager, and is also a seasoned startup founder himself. And then there's me. My PhD is in microbiology. I have 14 years of experience and brought my graduate work over to start this company. And I have worked in industry as well as taught in academia. This is only part of the group. There's actually a total of 13 of us that is making things happen behind the scenes. So I'm quite proud of our team and quite proud of our accomplishments in the last few months when it comes to COVID. And those are the reasons why we believe that COVID will end up being the game changer, our COVID Now at-home test. So we're going to open it up for questions here in a little bit, but before we do that, we're going to have Dr. Rivera come in and tell us the latest results that we have. So if you'll give us just a few minutes, we'll get that set up. And as we're getting ready, feel free to type some questions into the chat box so that when we switch over to the Q&A, that we'll have some questions ready. I see 1 or 2 are already in there. Okay.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Angel Rivera. I'm the CTO of QXD, and today we will present the latest data that we have. Some of this we presented previously, but now we have a little extra that will be nice to share. So the COVID Now lateral flow is a lateral flow for antigen, and it's for at-home use. That's the main thing, antigen and at home. It will detect the SARS-CoV-2 viral protein in both asymptomatic and symptomatic patients. Here, we know that these two, especially the asymptomatic, can be very infectious since they don't know they're sick. And we can detect this during the early stages of the disease. At the present, we have a sensitivity of 100%, and the specificity just went up to 97.5, and I will show you the data and why. When we do this test, we basically put 20 microliters of the patient sample, or we put saline as a negative control, and then we add a couple of microliters, 20 microliters of the buffer to chase. We wait 9 to 12 minutes, and if we have two lines like in this one here to the right, this is a negative sample. And if you have one line, this guy has COVID-19. The protein is there. The moment we have tested 24 positive and 40 negative since we made this PowerPoint. This is an example of a patient that we did, several patients that we did. They're all positive. You can see the positive sign. You only have one line. This is 9 minutes since the time we started the experiment. And the negative control has two lines. And then we went 12 minutes. So between 9 to 12 minutes, you have the results very, very quick. We have tested several different bacteria and viruses just to show that this doesn't cross-react with other viruses. It was an interesting talk and in the TV that Dr. Fauci was presenting, in where some people believe that it can cross-react with the common cold virus, the human coronavirus 229E, and it does not. So it is not a cross-reactivity and is not a pre-immunization if you have a cold. And we have the results right here as 13 and 14. We then tested several positive samples that were frozen that were acquired by one of the hospitals in town, and they were all positive. We got 100%, and they were confirmed by PCR, which is a test required by the FDA at the moment. So these samples were positive and they were correct. Now, one of my friends has a gym here in town. It's not too far from our company. And he was afraid that the employees there were exposed to the COVID-19 and that he might have been also. So we went there with our sample, our prototype, our lateral flow, and we tested 7 people that day. Out of those 7, 6 were asymptomatic. And out of those 6, 5 were positive. So 5 people were positive and they were showing no symptoms. This is very bad for the rest of the people that were contaminated. And those guys show symptomology as the disease progressed. So it was the beginning of the disease. One guy that was super sick, he was showing symptoms. He should not have been there. We also have another group of people we tested a few days later, was 2 other patients that thought they might have been infected, exposed to the COVID-19. They were asymptomatic, as you can see here, and they were negative for PCR and negative for our lateral flow. So all these results have been confirmed by PCR, and they were absolutely perfect. So that increases our sensitivity and specificity. These are also samples from patients and for bacteria that we want to be sure that it's not cross-reacting. So if you have strep, if you have other sorts of pneumonia, is that going to say that you're positive for COVID? At the moment, the answer is no. It's very specific for COVID-19. So basically, in conclusion, we can say that this lateral flow is important because it's at home. We have 24 positive SARS-CoV-2 patients, verified by PCR, and they were all positive, giving us 100% sensitivity. We have 40 negative SARS-CoV-2 patients, and out of that, 39 were they were negative, giving us a specificity of 97.5%. This test is very simple, 9 minutes. You have a smartphone app that will connect you to telehealth. You can even turn the results into a PDF file and show it to whoever you had to show it. It will recognize in the nature antigen. So if your proteins have been denatured, still will be showing that you have the COVID-19. And of course, it's essential for the diagnostic of SARS-CoV-2. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this presentation, and hopefully we'll have more data very soon so we can go into the EUA and get the FDA approval. Thank you. And now Dr. Nagy will continue. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Rivera. We appreciate that presentation. Okay. So now I'm going to change the screen. And then we're going to open it up for some Q&A. And intermittently, I will show you some other pictures of some developments that we have made. So just give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. How are you guys doing? I appreciate you coming. I appreciate you listening, and I appreciate each and every one of you that has decided to join the journey and invest with us. I want to show you the components within a kit. You're going to get a foil pack, you're going to get a swab, you're going to get a tube, and then essentially it's going to be a simple nose swab. You're going to put your finger right here. It's going to be about 1 inch in your nose, not 3 inches, and you're not touching your brain or anything like that. You're going to take the swab and then you're going to put it inside this simple tube. You're going to agitate it, and then it will be a controlled drip at the bottom. You're going to put it on to this strip right here, and within a few minutes you're going to get results, and then you're going to take your phone and then you're going to take a picture of it to get results. So that just gives you an idea of what our kit looks like. I see that there's a couple of questions coming in, and again, you're welcome to just continue asking the questions, and I'm going to start going through this list right here, with the first one being somebody asking about Selects. Okay, so there's a company called Selects, and they are also making an antigen test. They are also trying to make an at-home test as well. There's always it's no surprise to us that there would be other people trying to do the same thing. So we have a number of things going for us that's different. Number one, they foresee applying to EUA by the end of the year. We've put in our pre-submission. We still have some testing to do, but they're not any farther along than we are at this point. We're about in the same. Our results are a little bit better. I would like to say our phone app's a little bit better, but we also have connectivity to the telemedicine service, and we don't believe that any of these companies have that component. If you don't already know, we have a working relationship with Physician 360. They're the telemedicine service. They're located in 50 states, and they have access to over 1,000 drugstore kiosks, and they have already given us a letter of intent for 20,000 units. So that would be a very nice way of getting disseminated, getting our name out there, getting our product out there, and having a very nice order to start everything up with. So that's what I have to say about Selects. And also, the last thing I will say about Selects is they did, it says September 16th that they announced that they have the first at-home test. They are developing an at-home test. I believe those were forward-thinking statements. We have yet to do a big PR push. We're going to wait until we have more results, and at that point, we're also going to do a big PR push. But we want to wait. Okay. Okay, so we have Yannick asking about the cartoon. He says that it was great. Thank you very much. And he asked if it's okay to share that video on social networks. Yes, please do. Please share. We would love that. And if you would put a little WeFunder link to it, we would love that as well. Please share on your social medias. That helps us, you know, get to market sooner. So, The next question is from, please forgive me if I mispronounce your first name, Hafie. Okay, it says, why Abbott and others need CLIA lab but not yours? Is this technology you used different than others? Well, it was July 29th that the FDA just announced their template so that they will consider at-home tests. So up until then, they wouldn't even consider an at-home version. So it's now been 2 months that they've said, okay, we will consider it. So Abbott and them, they utilize a piece of equipment in order to get the result. We don't need a piece of equipment. You can just utilize your phone. So that's one big thing. And then just the way the design of the Abbott test is designed in a way that they prefer it to be done in a CLIA certified laboratory. Just like the at-home pregnancy test, we're designing ours in a way that you can complete it at home. Okay, the next statement. Yannick, give me a call about your question about investing. So the next question. Hey, Haifu. I'm sorry. Again, I'll have to work on pronouncing your name. The question is, what is the timeline for EUA approval, and how many patients are needed for FDA approval? Okay, so the timeline for EUA approval, I would say we're going to try to get our EUA in about two months. So we're pushing really hard to try to get it done. Since we have that pre-submission, essentially what we're doing now is collecting clinical data, and we're going to, everything's already laid out. We just need to implant the clinical data as we're collecting it, and then get a couple of reviews and then send away. So 2 months to get in to do the EUA. And then how many patients are needed for FDA approval? So the number of patients you need are actually quite small. You only need a minimum of 150 patients, but you have to hit a certain number of each person in different categories. For instance, you have to have so many asymptomatic positives. We got lucky with the first 8 people that we looked at, and we got a lot of asymptomatic positives in that group. We just got lucky, and that was just because of contact tracing. Essentially, hey, we all think we might have gotten exposed, and then it turns out they were. So their minimum requirement is 150. You also have to do different kind of studies. So it really, I think by the time we're done, it's going to be about 300 to 500, and that's for usability. We also are doing actual accuracy tests and cross-reactivity and things like that at the same time. So, and then, okay, the next question is from Jason. It says, I read that all the quick COVID antigen tests fail to detect the virus when it's at its early stages, within a day or two after the virus has been contracted, right? So you're going to have a minimum viable viral load. So day 1, you're right, it may not show up. I don't even think it'll show up on a PCR. Day 2, by day 3, definitely that viral load should be high enough to catch. So we don't know the exact, we're still measuring or gathering data to see how many days to exposure we can get, but we will probably fall into, it's got to be 2 or 3 days. That's what it looks like. Okay, and then Gary, thank you for the statement. He says competition is fine and people should not worry about another company. I mean, I'm in agreement with that statement. I mean, when Facebook came to market, there was Friendster and MySpace, and you know, it was the group that did it a little bit better. And yeah, so we're not worried. We're not worried. And the market and the need is so great that I think there's room, there will be room for more than one company. I'm not worried. So Chris writes, have you considered a home health care company already offer care to the nurse that can visit, excuse my reading skills here, the nurse that visits and can administer the test to those with mental health issues and other medical limitations to successfully perform the test? Wow, that is a fantastic idea. We have some ideas around healthcare with the P360, but if you have some contacts around this, please email me, and you know, we would love an introduction. So, okay, Gary, he says he has one concern. People may not feel that they get the test right the first time, and they may only have one chance to test and feel if they got it right. $50 is a lot for a lot of people. How do you think they can be assured that they get the test right the first time? Okay, so we're putting in a number of different stopgaps for these kind of situations. Number one, our test will have an illustrated guide that will guide you through the swabbing process. Number two, we're going to have videos on our phone app as well as YouTube, and part of our any kind of commercialization is going to kind of demonstrate how to properly swab your nose. And then we're going to also have, or we're still discussing it, and we'll probably have a video service to help you if you need that level of help with the swabbing component. So you'll be able to go to WhatsApp or Zoom and have a customer service interaction with somebody to help you swab if you're that concerned. So we hope that those stopgaps will help people do the test correctly. And then also we're working in the background to figure out some other ideas that will help make the test affordable or accessible to everyone that wants to get a test. And then Yanni, hey, you got on. I saw you had sent me a LinkedIn message. Okay, it says, do you have a way to apply barcodes to the test kits in the mobile app? Absolutely, that's what we're going to do. That's going to be your identifier, is when you get the kit, you're going to take a picture. That's one of the first steps. You're going to take a picture of the barcode, and that will be your new identifier. And then when the information gets sent to local and state authorities, they're going to essentially get that barcode in lieu of your name. So that's the plan that we have right now. Okay, and that's what we have in terms of questions. So feel free to continue asking questions. And in the meantime, I want to show you, I would like to show you our video. I'm sorry, not our video, but our brand new website. So I'm going to take 1 second and bring that up. And feel free to text some more questions in here. Okay, I see a couple more. Okay, so let me share the screen and unveil our brand new website. See, here it is. Here we go. We've got the COVID Now. You can join our mailing list if you're not already on it. We've got the basic components of the kit. The problem, the solution, numbers, and some more Q&A for any investors and our product line. Coming soon. So that is our new website. We are quite proud of it. Yeah. And thank you for those that were patient. I know our website was down for a little while, but you know, we had elves working in the background trying to produce a very nice website for us. Okay. There we go. And let's see, I see that there's a couple more questions coming in. Wow, fantastic. Are we able to download the beta version of the app? No, not yet. We're very close, and we're going to be using the beta version during our clinicals. And that's going to start happening in a couple of weeks. We want to get the first round of clinicals done, and then we're going to start incorporating the app. At this point, all you can see are these screenshots that are sprinkled through the WeFunder and our deck. But if you, Jason, if you need a couple of pictures, I can send you the deck if you like. Just send me an email and I'll send you a deck. And if you need to send me an email, it's maria@cormexdiagnostics.com. So feel free to send me an email. Chris has another idea. It says also some demo teaching models in nursing schools would be great and essentially create a bulk of great free salesperson. Yeah, that's salespeople. Yeah, no, that is an excellent idea. That is an excellent idea. So we will try to keep track of all these ideas, and when the time is right, try to follow through on them. Okay, so we got Peter, and he said, any plans for multi-kits and or dual kit so that you can run a second test several days after the first? That's a good idea. We've talked about it briefly. That's something we have yet to decide on. Right now, we're going to launch 2 different boxes. One is going to have the P360 telemedicine service embedded, or how can I say, embedded into it. So when you're paying the price, it's already included a consultation. And then we'll have a second box that's a little bit cheaper, that doesn't have the consultation. But if you're in the middle of the test and you decide, uh-oh, I came up positive, I think I would rather have a consultation, you'll be able to opt in afterwards. So those are the two boxes that we've discussed. And so a dual kit, that's something we're going to have to sit down and think about, and they may come in the future as well. So, and we have Greg. Thanks a lot, Greg. He said, looking good, nice going. We appreciate all the kind words on WeFunder. I get to share that with the team every so often. It makes us all feel good. And then Yanni says, overall, how are you working around minority inclusion in the test validation and performance? Well, I know that we're required to do first come, first serve component. So it's first come, first serve. We're going to go to several different locations in order to do the clinicals. There's a couple people that we have discussed with already that are willing to have us come to their location and to do some testing. We're also working with a couple of universities that are also going to be doing some independent testing for us. So essentially, we're going to give them a handful of sticks. They're going to look at 50 of their own patients that they've or samples that they've collected to do PCR, and we're going to ask them, hey, run our test at the same time and see how it matches up. So we're going to have some independent data from different locations, and then minority inclusion. We're just not we're trying not to exclude anyone. Everyone is first come, first serve. So and using the varied locations. And then we have a lovely comment from Cherie. She says she loves the website. So thank you. Appreciate it. And then Jason also says site looks great. You should probably show screenshots of the app on the website. Yes, we will embed that in to the website later on. Let's see, and then we have Paul. And then Paul says, will this test also test positive if you have regular SARS? So we have not tested regular SARS yet. That's one of the cross-reactivity bugs that they're asking for us to test. However, I will tell you, regular SARS hasn't been around we haven't seen it since 2011. So there's a high probability that it's not regular SARS. And then another one that the FDA is asking for is MERS. But MERS, there's only been, I think 2003 or 2004. It's still around, but it's very rare, and it's in very specific situations. It's people that tend to be camel handlers. So if you see SARS-like symptoms in camel handlers, then they're going to say, could this be MERS, right? And it's kind of isolated to specific regions of the globe. So but that is another bug that they're asking us to ensure that there's no cross-reactivity. So we'll find that out later on during testing. Okay, and then Jason said, okay, you're going to reach out. Sounds good. While we're waiting on a couple more questions, I'm going to give you a sneak peek of our co-branded box. Let me see if I can pull this up. Again, this is our version 1. Okay, this is our version 1, so it may change, but I'm giving you a sneak peek. Okay, hold on, don't tell anyone. The marketing team may get mad at me for this. So but we're going to give you a sneak peek anyway. So this right here has our COVID Now label right here. It's got the Physician 360 label. It talks about the app, conduct the test, receive results, and physician support. So that's the first version that we've been playing around with. So again, top secret, don't tell anyone. Okay. Okay. All right, let's see if we have any more questions. Okay. All right. So let's see if there's anything else that I set up to show you. And a little sneak peek, another sneak peek at our the app. Oops, it went away. So right here, you probably saw this, but we're going to have basic information, zip code, maybe not in the first version, but we hope to have heat maps later on in different versions. So that's a sneak peek for that. And again, the app team has done a brilliant job. I mean, brilliant. They saw the vision and they ran with it, and they believe in this product just as much as we do. Okay. Is there any parts of the presentation anyone would like me to bring up, or anything from Dr. Rivera's results? Okay, Jason asked one more question. He says, what is our EUA target date? Let's be very conservative, and we're going to say about 2 months. Because we have a handful of data that we need to collect and to write it up and to send it in. But again, since we have that pre-EUA, we're going to get feedback on that in the next few weeks, and that'll give us insight into what we're missing, so that our application will go in very strong. So, okay. All right. And that appears to be, oh, hold on. All right, that appears to be all the questions at this point. So I think we're done for today. If you have any other questions, I think everyone has my email. It's Maria@QuorumX Diagnostics. And then you can follow us, obviously, in WeFunder. You can follow us on LinkedIn. You can follow us on Facebook. And then also, if you're planning on investing or increasing your investment, this is the time to do it, because like I said before, you're essentially putting gas on the fire. If you want us to get to the date faster, if you want us to get through EUA, this is like, you can actually make a difference. You can make a difference. We can make a difference. And not only in getting this product to market, but once it does get to market, you can be part of flattening the curve. Let's not flatten it. Let's put a freaking dent in it, you know, and it's you and every single one of yous out there, and your friends, and, you know, social media, and all of that matters. Okay. It can be all of us together that makes a difference. It's not just one group out there. It's us together. So if you're going to increase your investment, do it now. Don't wait. Don't wait. Well, I want to see what happens. No, do it now because we will put it to use immediately. Okay, it's together we can do this, not separately. So with that said, have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for spending your evening with us, and hope to speak to you soon. Have a wonderful night. Take care.
Good night.
Thank you.